me put my thing on do not disturb. Demons. When we start a live stream, that's when they want to start texting.
Yeah. All right, we live.
All right.
All right, Shalom.
Shalom.
First, we want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Bashem Yahushai, Bashem Rachak and waters to the apostles of Great Millstone, and peace and blessings to the elect. Real quick, we're not gonna make this too long. All right, we're just gonna answer a couple of questions that a few brothers had on the comment board. Okay, and starting with Solomon Yasharala. All right, he asked. He said he left a comment. He said, "Ak, do you give counsel? ? I have some questions. Through Spirit, man. That's why we're here. To feed the sheep. All right, and that's not only just doing these videos, but also answering the questions to bring the edification. Scriptures say we got to study to show ourselves approved, and that we may know how to answer every man, okay, and be ready always to give an answer. So, I let him know just to leave his comment there and his question, and he basically asked. He says, "Bakwar Amath, it's off topic, but I wanted to know if Basque people are Israelites. I want to get a better understanding of confusion of faces and how to go about trying the spirit."
Yeah, but you could spell out Basque. So.
Khan. Basque, Basque. Yeah. And when you look it up, it says it was basically a self-autonomous area, all right, in northern Spain. Okay, which keeping in mind, you have Israelites, all right, literally everywhere on the planet. Okay, you have Israelites in every corner of the earth, man. Every single location where people exist, Israelites are amongst them. Okay, because number one, being that we're the largest nation, all right, and number two, okay, we are the Lord said He spread us amongst all these different nations. Okay, so keeping in mind as well that yes, you had Israelites in Spain. Okay, you had Israelites all throughout Europe, all right, and you had Israelites in Spain as well, man. Okay, so you had Israelites, you had Israelite philosophers, okay, journalists, and all of them. You had even some of them who were speculating on the 10 tribes who were in the Americas, okay, as to whether they were descendants of the lost tribes, so on and so forth. All right, but according to the scriptures, which we're going to get, all right, you have Israel scattered throughout the four corners of the earth. So answering that question, you will have people living amongst the Basque people, all right, that are Israelites, okay, and that's the same. That goes the same for every quote unquote nation on the earth. You have Israelites that are living amongst them, looking like them, dressing like them, eating the foods they eat, partaking in the customs because that's how they've grown up. But the spirit within them is that of an Israelite.
God, hey, and that's simply put, if we could have Israelites who look like the nation that the Lord hates the most, which are Edomites, you could have Israelites in every other nation, man. You know what I'm saying? You got Jake, Edomite looking Jakes, okay? And Edomites are the hated nation. The Most High hates them. He said it outright. He doesn't say that about no other nation, but except for that specific nation. Jacob have I loved, Esau have I hated, okay? So that's proven to you. And if you have Israelites who look like Edomites, okay, that if we weren't spiritual men with spiritual discernment, who consider them as Edomites, condemn them and all, tell them they're going into slavery. Meanwhile, they're going to be with us in the chariots. You know what I'm saying? So that goes to show you that's also an example of what the scattering of the nation, the scattering of Jacob among these other nations. All right. And let me get this quick precept. And this is the reason, the importance behind this precept right here, okay, because this is happening right now as we speak. All right, through this word coming out, the Lord is doing exactly what He said He was going to do. Okay, there's a book of Amos chapter 9 verse 9. It says, "For lo, I will command and I will sift the house of Israel among all nations." Okay, now why would He say among all nations? Okay, there what, 17 nations? 18 nations, right? 18 nations.
17 excluding Israel.
Excluding Israel, exactly. So 18 nations, but the nation of Israel being the number one nation, right? But we were scattered throughout all these other nations, man. The Lord did that on purpose, okay? What? He said He's going to sift us from among all these nations, okay? From the time of the first Exodus all the way till now, man. It says, like as corn is sifted in a sieve. Okay, now if you sieve a corn, when you let's say you blend it, you get the corn itself, the seeds, the corn, and then you blend it. All right, you're going to have the husk behind after around the corn itself. That's not what you're looking for. So back in the ancient times, what the women do is when they were baking cakes or making dough, okay, they used to grind it with mill. In a mill, they put the seeds and the corn in the mill, and then they grind it, okay, because it's dry, and then they grind it, and then they sieve it with a sieve, so they could get out all the husk. All right, and then that's that they could feed it to the animals or whatever, and then the real thing itself, the pure uh you know the pure residue of the corn, okay, that's what they use to bake and cook and all these different things. Okay, so the Lord is giving an example, and that's the pure. When you see something, you get the purest form, and then the residue is what's kept in the sieve, right? So he said, what the residue is going to be these other nations, and then the Lord is going to sieve out what He's going to sift out the nation, the elect among these other nations, right? Like as a corn is sifted in a sieve, yet shall not the least grain fall upon the earth. Okay, so that means every single Israelite that's in all these other nations, they will come back to their heritage. Okay, whether it's this they die on this side and come back in the kingdom, or they get saved in this time period. Either way, they're gonna regain their identity as an Israelite, and they're gonna gain salvation. Okay,
that's right. Yeah. Brother Yasharala YG put a precept, Ezekiel 36:19, and I scattered them among the heathen, and they were dispersed through the countries according to their way and according to their doings. I judged them. So that's plain right there. You have Israel literally everywhere. Not just by curses or migration or scattering, but also by migration as well. You had Jake that were constantly, whether it's through captivities or whatever the case may be, you had Jake that was just spreading everywhere. Okay, so that was the first part, concerning, whether those people are Israelites. Well, yeah, you have Israel. I'll say it like this: you have Israelites among them. Okay.
Yep.
Now, of course, I'm going to do more research going into it, into the where they descend from, where they actually come from. Because there's a difference, right? You have Israelite foreigners, which be Israelites that are living, all right, amongst other nations. So you have Israelites that look like Edomites, or Israelites that look like Moabites or East Indians and all of that, but they're Israelites. And then you also have those who, like, if you go to like western parts of Africa, you have like the Ashantis and all that. They are actual straight, like if you trace their lineage, it straight goes to the descendants of Israelites, So there's a difference there. So that's what I'm saying. I'm going to do more research into the basket to see if they're like sort of like a break off of some descendants somewhere. Nonetheless, to play it on the safe side, we do have Israelites among them. Now, second part was the brother said I want to get a better understanding of confusion of faces and how to go about trying the spirit. Well, confusion of faces, you have one, I think, in the book of Daniel, when it says, "O Lord, unto you belongeth righteousness, but unto us confusion of faces," and that is referring on to being shamefaced, and then you have it in the other sense of basically Israelites looking like another nation. Okay, now in order to do you have Hebrews no, Hebrews 5:12.
What does it say? You be told again?
Yeah. Bring that out real quick, because it's gonna go into it really around the 13th verse, but you can start at 12. So you say you want to get better at trying the spirit. The first thing you do is really try it with this word. Now, Jake, you can tell who's an Israelite. It's not by how they look, but by the spirit within them. But mainly on this side, we're not really, the main focus isn't about Israelites per se. It's more about the elect of the Israelites. Because regardless of if you can find out if somebody's an Israelite or not, if they're not of the elect, it doesn't matter, because they're going to be destroyed on this side. So the main discernment you're looking for are who are the elect, all right, of these Israelites. Who are because the elect are going to be in everywhere, man. So how do you discern that? By using this word. It's like having a magnet and hovering it over a junk pile, everything that's metal is going to come out and stick to the magnet. So you use the scriptures as that magnet, you know, or like a metal detector. You know, the closer you get, you hear the sound, whatever, you know. So if you got the precept, we could.
It's the book of Hebrews chapter 5, verse 12. It says, for the time you ought to be teachers, you have the need that one teach you again.
Right. So before you start teaching, obviously you have to be a student first. So you have to be taught. Okay. Go ahead.
God, it says, which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High.
That's right. Which be the first principles of the oracles of the Most High. Even when you look through a life as a baby, all right, if you look at the cycle of life, a baby has to be taught, all right? And then they grow up, and then they grow up with whatever they're taught before they then start to teach others. You know, if you have children, the firstborn, all right, he gets taught, and if there's a great age difference between him and his younger siblings, he starts to teach his younger siblings. And then when they get to an age where they know enough, they'll start to teach others as well. You know, so that's like the basic principles of life. You learn and then you teach, and then that's why the elders, all right, or the aged have more experience, so they can give you better advice. Because when they were kids, they were taught. You know, and so being the same thing in this truth, when you first come into this truth, the Lord compares it to what? Being born again. So you're starting off as a baby, and a baby has to be taught. Like Paul said. You have to become fools to be wise. You know, you have to basically come into that humble position of not knowing anything and being willing to learn. And once you learn, you can teach.
Hey, that's the same thing with Yahushua and the disciples, man. He came in there and they were grown ass men. Okay, they were living their own lives. Peter had a family. He had a wife. Okay, you know, all the other disciples, they had jobs, they had occupations. I believe Mark. No, it wasn't Mark. Matthew was also known as Levi. He was a tax collector. He was making bank. Okay, so they were all living their lives, but when they met Yahushua, they had to be taught again. Everything they believed, okay, everything they knew was confirmed through the Spirit, and they got further clarification and understanding of the scriptures. Okay, and that's when they were able to go out there and teach. So that's the same thing when you come to this truth at first. Yes, you might know a couple of precepts that you learned from the church, but do you understand what they mean? See, that's when you got to be taught again. That's when the growing up comes into play. Okay. It says, and are become such as have need of milk and not of strong meat. Okay.
Right. Very good.
Yes, need of milk. They need milk. If you feed a baby meat, the baby's gonna die because they're not gonna be able to digest that food. It's not meant for them. You see what I'm saying? So if you come into the truth at first and brothers hitting you with deep dark breakdowns, you know, deep dark breakdowns, you're gonna get lost. You're gonna be like, oh, nah, this is too heavy. That's what it really says. But once you gain the understanding, the key fundamentals, which are what? Who are the Edomites? Who are the Israelites? And what this is all about, everything makes sense. You know, all the scriptures talk about a serpent. Okay, that serpent is the same as what? The dragon. Okay, when it says Esau, what does it mean? When it says Edom here, what does it mean? When it says the devil, when it says Satan, all these different contexts that is being used and these specific words are being used, you're able to connect the dots. You're able to make sense out of what's being said based on the context because you gained the understanding. Okay, now you understand, okay, now if I chew, I have to swallow. And if I swallow, there's going to be digestion that takes place. Okay, so it's the same thing, breakdown. You have to read a precept here, pull a precept from here to understand this precept here. See, who's going to teach you all that? The elders, those who have been in this before you, your teachers, your masters, okay, your spiritual fathers in this thing. So, okay, those are the men that the Lord uses to what? To further this gospel and waking you up. Same thing Yahushua did. Okay, he taught his disciples for 3 years, which is what? Understanding. And it's the same thing. Us in the truth, you don't really gain that power until you get like 3 years deep into this. And that's when you really start to feel like, yo, I finally get something. I really understand this thing now. You know, sometimes you feel like the Lord is really dealing with you at a certain point because you'd be like, damn, it's not everything that I got to go to the brothers to go break down. I could just pray or break it down like through the Spirit. The Lord is going to deal with me on that type of time. You know,
and that's a beautiful point you made on that, because when you look it up in ancient Israel, the children would be basically breastfed and weaned, all right, around the age of 3. They would be basically until the age of 3 is when they would start to pass that stage of being breastfed, so on and so forth. You know, so when you first come into this truth, you're still on that milk, but you know you're growing more and more. And at that 3-year span, you're sort of like, getting on your feet, walking, so on and so forth. Now, if you notice too, that's why they're called breakdowns, because if you look at a bird, when the mother brings food, right? Let's say she catches a worm, she doesn't just throw the worm to the babies. She takes the worm, she pecks it, chews it, breaks it down, all right, and then she puts it into the mouth of her babies. So all they do is they open their mouth, and then the food that's already been broken down by the mother is then put into their mouth, and they can easily consume it, because they're not at that stage to be able to break it down themselves. That's why when you come into this truth, what you watch the breakdowns, okay? Because now the food has already been broken down for you, so in your mind you can easily digest it. Okay, and then once you get to that age, all right, of being weaned from the milk, you can be able to read certain books, all right, and be able to get the correct information from it, all right, because you have certain books like the book of Josephus or these other books that they have truth in them, but some parts they go off on. So you need to be able to be at that level to discern, okay, which part can I take from this, and what do I leave?
Okay.
So you got, matter of fact, real quick, another precept brother put in here, Isaiah 28:9. Whom shall he teach knowledge, and whom shall he make to understand doctrine? And that are weaned from the milk and drawn from the breast, because at that point you can start moving on to heavier things.
Hey, even when you have animals, even for I'll use an example, pigs, right? Now they're unlawful to eat, but you can have them around or whatever. But you have pigs, right? And then the mom gives birth, and she has about, let's say, 12 piglets. Now the 12 piglets are gonna be with their mom. You're gonna be feeding the mom and everything, but they're not gonna be eating the mom's food, right? They're gonna be drinking her milk all the time. So the moment you see, as a farmer or whatever, moment you see that they start eating the food that their mom is eating, that's when it's time to start to move them away, because now they have teeth. And they're not sucking on the mom's breast no more. They start to bite it, because they're into that. They got into that stage of eating, to chew. So now they start hurting the mother, and then the mom is like, "Nah, I'm not gonna give you milk no more." She cuts them off automatically. It's by nature, Even for sheep or goats, when they go back into the mom, they start pushing, trying to get that milk. The mom just kicks them off, like, "Yo, go eat some grass. You're old enough to eat grass. Get off the milk now." You see. So by nature, even animals, nature shows you that at a certain point, at a certain age, they get weaned. Okay, getting weaned and taken away from the milk. And then sometimes as a farmer, you'd be like, you know what? I'm gonna take the mom out, okay, so she could go, give her a few months by herself, so she could kind of like regain her energy, and then I'm gonna cross her, meaning I'll pass it to the other male, so she could, when she's in heat, he could take care of business, and then we have more piglets. You see, so you take you wean the piglets from the mother, and then you add them to all the other piglets that have been weaned, and then they all grow and bond, and then you feed them like regular pigs now. But yeah, let me finish this precept real quick, and then back to Hebrews 5:13. It says, "For everyone that useth milk is unskillful in the word of righteousness, but he is a babe." Okay, so that's what you don't. An example is you don't just come into the truth and try to have battles with people who've been in way before you. That's crazy, because everything you're gonna bring out is almost trivial to them. It's like what deep shit can you really say that's gonna change my whole mind, bro? That's why it's amazing when you see people who just come into this thing and they start they really talk back to elders and stuff. You'd be like, wow, this you got demons on you, So it says, but strong meat belongeth to them that are of full age, even those who by reason of use have their senses exercised to discern both good and evil.
That's right.
That's what you got it.
No, I was gonna say, so that's the point right there. Going into that, being that spiritual discernment is by use of what? Exercise. You have to exercise that, so it comes by experience. The more and more you do it, you'll get better at it, where you can sense it. You'll be able to tell. You've honed your spiritual discernment skills to where you can tell. So really, when you start off, the easiest or the best way to start is by using the scriptures, testing the spirit of the person, because the elect will have a certain kind of spirit, right? So to answer your question, brother, when you want to try somebody's spirit, okay, you can tell by certain things you say to them, how they receive it. If they're of the elect, they will inquire, or they'll be willing to at least hear what you're saying, and it will make sense in their mind. There might not be a full-blown quote unquote convert to where they're like, yeah, I got garments on, I'm out here teaching, but they'll at least understand what you're saying to an extent, you know. Oh shoot, that makes sense. Yo, wait, so is that why this and that? Oh wow, that's crazy. Yo, I never knew this my whole life. You can tell that sincerity is there. That's how you can discern who's of the elect, all right, or you know, of the elect, you know, because Israel as by nation is the elect, all right, of these nations, but you have an elect within the elect. Okay, so that was just basically to answer that brother's question, man. It's really just through the spirit, you know. The more and more you exercise or you grow in the spirit, you'll be able to tell, all right, but also by mainly using this word as a filter, okay, to discern people's spirits. Now, are you going to say something?
No.
Okay.
We'll move on to the next question.
Yeah, next question was by I believe the brother is still watching right now. Zakiah Gregory. Let me pull it up real quick.
You want me to read it? I have it here.
Oh, you have it? Okay, you can read it.
God, it says, Shalom Akim. If possible, could you please walk me through how come so many people have stories of seeing loved ones after they have passed, including animals? My daughter is one that I've myself witnessed her seeing both evil and nice spirits. I didn't, and that's in quotes, by the way. It says, didn't know how else to word it, including our grandmother that passed. I'm not trying to be carnal, but do people that pass have to ask the Lord to come visit, or how does it work? Greatly appreciate any answer. I'm just so curious because I know all spirits go back to the Lord and animals don't. The water in advance.
God.
Yeah.
Right. So, you know, with that, you know, being said, that's at least he has that knowledge of you know, knowing that the spirits go back to the Father.
Okay.
All right. So now I'm gonna read through it and just go through it as I'm reading it. It says, if possible, could you walk me through how come so many people have stories about seeing loved ones after they've passed, including animals? But well, you keep going to my daughter is one that I've myself witnessed her seeing both evil and nice spirits. Yeah, well, you know, spirits all around, you know, they are around. And, you know, especially when you're younger, you know, when you're younger, all right, you can really see it because babies, for example, you know, being that they're fresh out the spirit world, babies are very, very spiritual if you really look at them. You know, babies don't really fear, all right, and they can see things, all right, deeper than you can. You know, if you look at a baby, especially when they're growing up, a lot of them are very honest. You know, it's not until they grow up and they get the pollutions of this world that they start getting corrupted. That's why the Lord said, "What seek ye the Lord in your youth." You know, when you're a young man, when He can mold you and grow you upright in the truth. All right, but nonetheless, babies are able to see more, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
You know, now it says, I'm not trying to be carnal, but do people have to ask the Lord to come visit, or how does it work? Well, the cycle, all right, or the way it works is that once you die, okay, your spirit goes back to that spiritual body, which is in the spirit world, because your spirit is energy. Okay, it's not just, you can't just be floating around like that. You need to be in a body, all right. And if you're in this realm or this dimension, you got to be in a body, all right, terrestrial body, so to speak. Okay, but if you're in the spirit world, there's a spiritual body for you that you're in. Okay, so over there, once you're in the spirit world, number one, they don't want to come back. All right, that's why they say when people die, they say rest in peace. The people in the spirit world, they, number one, they can see you, okay, as you are. They can see what you're doing. They can see what's going on here on earth. All right, so they don't necessarily need to come down just to see you. All right, and number two, they don't want to come down because they in the spirit world, they're at peace, they're at rest. You know, there's no feeling of stress, there's no feeling of any of that. You know, and the brother has an account of it actually. All right, going into Samuel, when Samuel was conjured up, when his spirit was conjured up, it wasn't because he asked permission of the Lord to come down. There was a witch that had conjured up his spirit, and his reaction, all right, when he was conjured up, he was upset, you know, because it's like imagine enjoying a very, very deep sleep. You're having a beautiful dream, and then somebody wakes you up, especially over some little reason. The feeling you get of like, why, you know, when you're very grumpy and angry, like, why are you waking me up? it's sort of like that, because in the spirit world you're at peace, you know. So unless it's the angels coming to deliver a message, or or whatever the case may be, then spirits stay in the spirit world, and the only time they come back on the earth is through what? Reincarnation, right? When the vessel for your spirit is prepared on the earth, okay, your spirit then leaves the spirit world and comes straight, all right, into that vessel, and then you're able to do your daily activities upon the earth. So that's the order that is set. Once you die, concerning humans, of course, once you die, your spirit goes to the spirit world and it stays there until the time comes where you come back on the earth, and the cycle continues like that. Now, like you said, with animals, okay, their spirit necessarily doesn't have to go there; it comes right back into the earth, because that's just where they at.
As a matter of fact, I got a precept for that.
God.
In the book of Ecclesiastes, now I got a few precepts. Let's just go from one
God,
to
you can bring them out.
the first one. I'll get it from Ecclesiastes, the first chapter, verse 4. It says, "One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever." So we go in and out of generations, man. A generation is about what, 3 to 4 different life cycles. So we're talking from your grandson, your great grandson, to your great great grandson. That's 3 to 4.
Well, that would be three generations, like, because you can say like second generation will be like what, your child or their child, and then so on and so forth. So that would be about, like you said, 3 to 4 generations, your grandson, great grandson. That would be the cycle of you coming back.
It says we're gonna jump down to verse 9. It says, "The thing that hath been, it is that which shall be, and that which is done is that which shall be done, and there is no new thing under the sun." Going into reincarnation. Okay, everything else, all the spirits get reincarnated back in a different vessel. Okay, it says and says, is there anything that wherefore it may be said, see, this is new, it hath been already of old time, which was before us. Okay, so everything that we see today is just, it's a modern day version. That's why we always say America is a modern day Rome. Okay, America is a modern day Babylon. All these different things is because the spirits that are coming back to take shape of the things that they were doing back then. That's how we're able to identify who they are, because they're records that were kept. Okay, so we just got to go back, and like Romans 15:4 tells you that everything written aforetime was written for our learning. Okay, how do you learn? You study. You do the comparisons, whether it's biblical history or secular history, to understand the present and the future. Okay, it says there is no remembrance of former things, neither shall there be any remembrance of things that are to come with those that shall come after. Okay, so we don't remember the past, like our past lives. None of us know who we are or who we were back then. You know what I'm saying? But we just know that we do have spirits of the men of the Lord, and we're back here again to do what we've always been created to do. Okay. Now, going back to what the point that the brother made earlier about the beast going back to the earth and stuff. Okay. It's a Yakan, Yasharala YG. I got that precept on deck, brother. You beat me to the punch, but I got you. Don't worry about it. There's a book of Ecclesiastes, chapter 3, verse 19. It says, "For that which befalleth the sons of men befalleth beasts." And what is that? Death. Even one thing befalleth them, as the one dieth, so dieth the other. Yea, they have all one breath, so that a man hath no preeminence above a beast, for all is vanity. Verse 20. It says, "All go unto one place, all are of the dust, and all turn to dust again. Who knoweth the spirit of man that goeth upward, and the spirit of the beast that goeth downward to the earth?" Right? So like the brother said, the spirit of these animals, when they die, they go back to the earth. Okay, and then they come back. That's why sometimes you might have a dog, and we've encountered this, where we had a dog years ago. He died, and then there's another dog that replaced it, and the dog was acting the same way like the old dog. You're like, yo, he acts just like Rocky, man. That's crazy. And it turns out that's that dog coming back. you know.
I
And it's crazy. Yeah, come on, bring it out.
This is because, like the brother was saying, there's a difference between humans and animals, because we have a certain level of consciousness, all right, within us. That's why we're above all these other beasts, and we have dominion over them. All right, animals don't go around saying, "Yo, I'm thinking of going off today." You know what I'm saying? I'm getting tempted to really go off right now. No, they do what they do by nature. you know, and that's nature is set in the way the Lord has set it, is righteous, you know. So unless it's altered with, these animals aren't going to be doing no wicked acts, you know what I'm saying, trying to be low key with it, you know. So there's no need for them to go to the spirit world to go get judged, to come down and serve their judgment. No. All right. They're like, they're going to do what they've been programmed to do. Okay. A dog barks, a dog barks. All right. A cat meows, a cat meows. You know, that's just the cycle they keep coming back and doing. So I have a precept. This is Ecclesiasticus 17:1. The Lord created man of the earth and turned him into it again. Because when you were created of the earth, and when you die, you go back to the ground. He gave them few days and a short time, and power also over the things therein. Of course, we were immortal at first, but due to the transgression, what the Lord reduced man's lifespan to what, what's 100 years, 100 years? What?
70 years.
70 years, which is roughly around that same time period. Nonetheless, we don't live as long as we used to. That's why he gave us a few days. He endued them with strength by themselves and made them according to his image, and put the fear of man upon all flesh, and gave him dominion over beasts and fowls. They received the use of the 5 operations of the Lord, and in the 6th place he imparted them understanding. See? And in the 7th speech, an interpreter of the cogitations thereof. Counsel and a tongue, and eyes and ears, and a heart gave he them to understand. Now that heart isn't talking about just an organ, it's talking about that mind, okay? Because your organ doesn't understand anything. It's your mind that you use to understand and perceive things, all right? Withal, he filled them with knowledge of understanding and showed them good and evil, okay? So these are the different things and senses that the Lord imparted onto man, okay, onto humans. The animals don't have all that extraness, okay? Yeah, they eat, they breathe, they live, they die, but there's something extra about us, okay? We think, we speak, we understand, you know, we do certain things a different way. So that's why, you know, the things we do is on a different level than them, okay? So going back to that, but you can carry on with your precepts concerning, you know.
Yeah, I just wanted to bring out this last one that the brother highlighted. Ecclesiastes chapter 12, verse 7, it says, "Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, and the spirit shall return unto the power who gave it." Okay, so again, that's the cycle of life when people die, so-called die, because death really isn't anything to be worried about. Death is just the end of a life cycle. You know, you go back to what you were doing before you were born, and that's it. So that's what you would be in the spirit world. Before you were born, you're in the spirit world. And then you come down here in this chains of darkness, in this body, this vessel, and then you live out the judgment that the Lord gave you when you passed away and went to the spirit world, man. Okay, you come here, you live it out for however long the sentence is, you live out the judgment, and then you go back, and then you come back again 3 or 4 generations later. All right, so it says what? Then shall the dust return to the earth as it was, okay, because that's where you came from, the dust as it was, from going back to Genesis, the beginning. Okay, it says, and the spirit shall return unto the power who gave it. Okay, so like I just broke it down. So, you know, to answer that question about, you know, seeing dead spirits and all that, okay, you can have that in dreams, but they don't physically manifest themselves like the brother said. You know, dead people trying to be coming out here. That's why it says you rest in peace, because you're at peace when you so-called die. It's just basically you rest. To say and he rested with his fathers, or he slept with his fathers, that's just rest. It's a break from this life, and then you come back. You know, you come back. So
right. Because hey, this, like the brother said, man, life is just simply the spirit and the body being connected and at once, and death is the opposite of that. Okay, death being the opposite of life, death is the departure of the spirit from the body. That's all it is. It doesn't mean, because prior to coming into the truth, I used to think when you die, you just don't exist anymore.
Yeah.
You know, due to lack of understanding. But now you know that you're not your body, you're your spirit. Okay. And the reason you're able to dwell in this dimension is because you have that body. Okay. So there's a difference. In the spirit world, there's a spiritual body. And in this world, there's a physical body, which I'm going to get a precept on that. Okay. So once you're in the spirit world, you've crossed over to a different dimension. Okay. A dimension which you're going to stay in, being in that spiritual body until that 3 to 4 generations passes, okay, and then your carnal body or your natural body is prepared by a father and a mother having sex to create that vessel for you to where you can return back to this dimension. That is your portal back to this dimension, that body. Okay. Because if you don't have a body in here, you can't, you know what I mean? You can't really come here. That's why when the angels come to this realm, they take on the form of men. You know, for example, Raphael, when he came, he took on the form of a man. Okay, so they'll manifest and look like men, and that's why they'll tell you when they appear, it says it'll be like a vision, you know. And most of the times, the Lord will come to the prophets and stuff in a vision, because when you're in a vision, when He puts you in a trance and you're in a vision, you then come into their territory. You know, you cross over into that dimension. All right, your spirit is now conscious of that, so they don't need to come into this realm. He comes to you in that vision. You know, because like they say, when you're asleep, you're closer to the spirit world.
Yep.
All right. So that's basically what it is. So answering your question, the order, that's not really how it's set up. When you die, you stay in the spirit world until it's time for you to come down. Okay. And through reincarnation, you come back down. You know, you can see them through dreams and visions and stuff. Okay. But to actually physically see them, that's not how it is, man. They chilling up in the spirit world. Okay. But hey, with that being said, man, the time is coming very soon where all of them, they're gonna be back on the earth, and if they're Israelites, they're not gonna die again. You know, so you're not gonna have to worry about it. Just trust and believe. All your dead loved ones that died, you know, whatever the case may be, if they're Israelites, they're gonna be back on the earth again to stay. All right. After Yahushua comes back, they're gonna come back on the earth through the loins, all right, of the elect. Okay, but when they come back, they're gonna remember. Okay, you're gonna know who they are too, and this is gonna be forever. So don't worry about how much you miss them and all that. It's all gonna be over very soon. The scriptures say in the book of Revelation, the 21st chapter, that there shall be no more death, neither crying, nor sorrow, nor tears. You know, because death and all of that is gonna be done away with. All right. Now,
did you touch on when they said that the person was basically asking about their child being able to see evil spirits and good spirits?
Evil and nice spirits. Yeah, I mentioned that. You want to expand on it?
Yeah, basically, you know, like children come straight from the spirit world, so they see things kind of like animals. Animals see the spiritual realm as well, because you know, over time, the human body over time, it kind of gets desensitized from the spiritual connection. That's why when you come into His truth, it takes time for you to be real spiritual and see things. You know, the Lord got to really be on a certain level with you, you know. But children are just out from the spirit world, so they see the demons, they see the angels and all that. Sometimes you see a kid just sitting by themselves just laughing. You're like, ah, ha, ha, ha. Then they just go back. You be like, what the fuck are they laughing about? What's so funny? I want to laugh too. It's because they're engaging with angels, man. Or sometimes somebody picks up a baby, a family member or something, the baby starts crying crazy. You be like, yo, damn, like this baby don't like me. It's not that they don't like you. You just got demons on you. Then they see that. You know, sometimes you see a cat looking probably at the door, just meowing, or dogs, you hear a dog just barking. You go outside and there's nobody there. But what the fuck is this nigga barking at? Because they see the spirits, you know, because the spirit world is so fast. We don't see it, okay, but it's there. Just because you don't see it doesn't mean, like, people tend to limit they limit life based off of their limitation. They see life based off of their limitations of their vision. But once you break out of that mold and you see things for what it is and not what you want it to be, you'd be like, yo, there's a lot more to this than I actually thought. And that's when the scriptures come into play.
Yeah, that's beautiful.
Yeah, you want to get straight into the precept of Saul being brought back and he was pissed?
Before we get that, let me get this one precept here about the bodies.
Go ahead.
The 1 Corinthians chapter 50. I'll start at 40 and jump down to 44.
Nice. So you knew I had that on deck, so you're gonna do that.
Oh, you have it? Oh, you can bring it out. Yeah. You can start at 40. You can start at 40 and jump to 44.
No, you go ahead. You go ahead. You got it.
Oh, come on. 1 Corinthians 15 and 40 says, there are also celestial bodies and bodies terrestrial, but the glory of the celestial is one and the glory of the terrestrial is another. Yeah, because there's a difference between the celestial and terrestrial bodies. Terrestrial bodies being on the earth, okay, being natural bodies, you feel hungry, you feel desire, You know, you know what I mean, you get certain feelings, all right, you feel pain and all these different things. That is a part of the difference between the terrestrial and the celestial. In the spirit world, that doesn't happen. They don't eat, okay? They don't eat, they don't use the bathroom, they don't feel pain. No, okay, that they're at peace. There's a difference. All right, jumping down to verse 44. It is sown a natural body, it is raised a spiritual body. There is a natural body and there is a spiritual body. See, so there's a difference between the two. Now they may look, all right, they may look they may look, all right, identical. They may look like the figure of a man, but angels, all right, having celestial bodies, they don't eat, they don't get hungry, they don't do none of that, man. There's a difference between the two. All right. Now, when you look up like somebody like Enoch or Elijah, when Elijah got taken up into the whirlwind and taken to the spirit world, his body was translated. Okay, so he was changed from the natural body to the spiritual body. Okay, his spirit didn't have to now leave this earth and then go to that dimension. No, he was changed into that body. All right, now the brother Zechariah Gregory says this happened from her being 2 to 15 years old. She's 19 now. Yeah, you know, that's, and you know what, you have some people, all right, that are able to you know, to see spirits, okay, or are able to have a stronger connection, all right, to the spirit world, to where they can see all that. That's all, you know, that's all the Lord's doing at the end of the day. Okay. But concerning the order and the way, because you even have witches, like the brother's about to get into, that are able to deal with familiar spirits.
Mm-hmm.
You know, witches that are able to see the future and do all these different things. Okay. But nonetheless, you know, we're gonna go into it real quick, because what we just gave you is basically the order. You know, this is the cycle of it. You know,
you even have, touching on the witches that go into these things, that's always been from the time of old. Witches do have that ability to tap into things. Okay, now even the Rothschilds, there's a book that I was reading that goes into how do they know exactly who they are? They go back into the dead, the dead ancestors, and they communicate with them, and they're the ones who pass on the lineage information, as in this person is this coming back, or this person is that person, or da. So they know who to reverence and whatnot. Okay, so they use that and they keep track of that. Okay, all these devils, man, from way back then, they know exactly. All these brothers always bring it out. They know who we are. They know they got the records. Yes, they do. Yes, they do, because they tap into that. They go into familiar spirits. Demons are intelligent. That's what the word demon means. So they tap into their spirits. They do all these different rituals. They have high priests on the left-hand side, okay? And they get into these things. They do sacrifices. They do all types of shit to get into the spirit world and see stuff, okay? Mm-hmm. But yeah, going back to what the brother said, and also to add on to a little bit more on what the brother Zechariah Gregory is saying, okay, yes, you do have people who they see more than the average Joe, okay, so to speak, and they have more of a like you said, a closer or more stronger spiritual eye, basically, you know, so they can see shit. You know what I'm saying? Hey, me as a kid, I was seeing shit. They thought I was crazy, you know, until the Lord, you know, so they prayed over me, and then all them demons stopped. But you know, it happens. You know what I'm saying?
Hey, real quick before we get into that precept, you also keep in mind that being with the nice and evil spirits, yeah, you have that. You know, you have, and then you also have people that deal with on the left hand side, you know, to where they can send spirits your way, you know, and these demons can take on the form of somebody that looks familiar, all right, to try and mess with you or to get at you. You know, the same way the devil is able to show you how all the different kingdoms, all right, of old, and basically try to get into your Yahushai's mind. Yeah, you have demons that are able to take on the form of somebody that looks like, you know, a loved one or whatever the case may be, okay, and talk to you or say whatever, or you know, whatever the case may be. And you have people that literally can go to witches and conjure up spirits, you know, call upon those spirits, as we have an account of that the brother's gonna get. You know, so not saying that, you know, your daughter didn't see it. There's a chance she saw, you know, maybe her grandma or whatever the case may be. But keep in mind, that's all according to the will of the Lord. Okay, because the Lord her seeing a spirit, all right, of a dead loved one does not necessarily mean that the dead loved one came there. You know, she might have seen it through the spirit. She might have seen it as like in a vision, all right, or you know, when you daydream, you know, you're still here, but your mind is seeing something else. You know, that could have happened where she wasn't able to discern between the two. All right, that if she was actually in real consciousness seeing it, or if she was in the spirit seeing it. You know, because hey, you read the scriptures, it'll tell you, and the spirit took me away, and I saw in the spirit, you know, I saw this even with Ezekiel, how the Lord took him through the spirit and showed him what the people in Jerusalem, though Ezekiel was in Babylon, the Lord showed them what they were doing in Jerusalem, the wickedness that they were doing over there.
Yep.
You know, same thing with John the Revelator. The Lord showed them the future, showed them people taking the chip and all those different things. So he can show you things through the spirit, you know, and sometimes you might not be able to discern, you know, that you're really locked into the spirit seeing it, you know, but you got it.
Right. Hey, we're gonna get right into it. This is a book of 1 Samuel, chapter 28. Start off at the top. It says, "And it came to pass in those days that the Philistines gathered their armies together for warfare to fight with Israel. And Achish said unto David, Know thou assuredly that thou shalt go out with me to battle, thou and thy men. And David said to Achish," let's just jump to the point. Verse 3 says, "Now Samuel was dead, and all Israel had lamented him, and buried him in Ramah, even in his own city. And Saul had put away those that had familiar spirits and wizards out of the land. And the Philistines gathered themselves together and came and pitched in Shunem. And Saul gathered all Israel together, and they pitched in Gilboa. And when Saul saw the host of the Philistines, he was afraid, and his heart greatly trembled." Okay. And when Saul, what the fuck? Oh, and when Saul inquired the Lord Yahweh, the Lord Yahweh answered him not, neither by dreams, nor Urim, nor by prophets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? Then said Saul unto his servants, because at that point the Lord had already taken the spirit off of Saul, so he wasn't dealing with Saul. You see what I'm saying? It says, then said Saul unto his servants. See, Saul got desperate. Okay, so now see what he does. "Seek me a woman that hath a familiar spirits, right? That I may go to her and inquire of her. And his servant said to him, Behold, there is a woman that hath a familiar spirit at Endor." Okay, so they told him, he said, "Go find me somebody who's into this type of shit, who's into, you know, the witchcraft and the sorcery and the astrologies and all that stuff. You know, the future tellers, all those crazy shit. Give me somebody like that." Okay, and Saul disguised himself. Why do you think he would do that? Because he was ashamed. He's not gonna go over there and be like, "I'm King Saul." He's gonna get whatever he wants, but he didn't want to put that image out there because it's like, whoa. You're the king of Israel. Are you not supposed to be condemning these things? Did we not just read a verse up that he was condemning all those things? He put them all away. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you just gonna come and talk to a soothsayer, a witch? Nah, bro, that look crazy. So he had to disguise himself. Okay, it says what? "And put on other raiment, and he went, and 2 men with him. And they came to the woman by night and said," not by day, but by night, because what? He's doing an evil deed, so he had to do it in the darkness so nobody could see him. At least that's what he thought. You see the mind of Jake. "And he said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit, and bring me him up, whom I shall name unto thee."
Now, Saul was talking to the witch, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I looked it up. Familiar spirits. A familiar spirit is, if you have a witch that has a familiar spirit, it means that she has a demon that's with her, allowing her to do the things she's doing.
Yep.
Because that's what a familiar spirit is. I just read it here. It says here, when they served witches, they were often, this is talking about a familiar spirit, they were often taught to be malevolent, while when working for cunning folk, they were often thought of as benevolent. Although there were some ambiguity in both cases, the former were often categorized as demons, while the latter were more commonly thought of and described as fairies. The main purpose of familiars or familiar spirits is to serve the witch or young witch, providing protection for them as they come into their new powers. You know, so the familiar, if she had a familiar spirit, that means that she has a demon that's working with her, allowing her to do these miracles. That's why I read that part again that Saul said.
God, it says what? "And Saul disguised himself and put on other raiment, and went, and 2 men with him, and they came to the woman by night and said, I pray thee, divine unto me by the familiar spirit,
See, divine up onto me by the familiar spirit. So use that, tell that witch or whatever spirit you got to use her power to bring up, go ahead.
Right, and bring me him up whom I shall name unto thee.
That's right. So she said, he basically said, yo, by the power of your familiar spirit that you have with you that's helping you, conjure up Samuel so I can speak to him. Because the Most High isn't speaking to me now with the Urim and the Thummim. The Urim and Thummim were like two stones that lit up. So you can and they will be on the breastplate of a high priest. So you can speak to him and the Lord will answer through the way the stones light up. That the priest will be able to discern and tell you what the Lord's mind is. The Lord wasn't talking to him through that or through visions or through prophets. Those are the main ways that the Lord speaks to you through. He wasn't doing that. So he completely cut off Saul. Now, Saul's most trusted prophet, his go-to guy, his advisor, so to speak, was Samuel, like his spiritual father.
Mm-hmm.
So when Samuel died, Saul was basically left like, yo, I don't know what to do. The Lord ain't dealing with me. I'm desperate, like the brother said. So he's like, all right, go bring up his spirit. Because we just read that Samuel was dead.
Mm-hmm.
But the familiar spirit was able to what? Conjure up Samuel's spirit. And now obviously the Lord allowed it to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because the Lord was like, nah, it ain't happening. It wouldn't work.
Samuel coming nowhere. And hey, witches, scriptures tell you suffer not a witch to live. Witches, modern day witches believe that there is a difference between witchcraft. There's good witches and there's bad witches. Scriptures say the deceiver and the deceived are his, man. Or the deceived and the deceiver are his. Okay. So you got these witches who actually believe that, they're like you said, fairies, and then you have demons. Nah, y'all are demons. Okay. If you venture into anything outside the scriptures, that's demonic shit. Okay. You're venturing into different spirits, that's demonic shit.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now the witches believe that, even when you look at the pentagram, for example, if a pentagram is facing up, meaning the star, the pointed thing is at the top, that stands for a good witch. Okay, now if it's opposite, meaning it has the two heads, like the Baphomet symbol. Okay, that looks like horns. The two stars, the thing, and then the ears, and then the mouth. That represents evil demons.
Mm-hmm.
But yes, no, demons do take. They manifest into people as regular people. They, that's the vessels that they operate in.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, like my so-called friend who got demons on him right now. Okay, brothers had a dream about him. Bro, I had a dream about him. Okay, and then boom, it manifested. He got demons on him. Okay, so demons do take over human vessels. Okay, the more wicked you are, the easier for a demon to take over. All right, and then guess what? They go and operate and they do their shit.
Yeah,
the majority of these women today, they got demons on them because they're into that self-worship. You give a demon an ability to come in there and dwell in your temple, and that's why they act the way they act.
Mm-hmm.
It's so abnormal sometimes. You think about it, you be like, what the fuck? No, it's not them. It's demons.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Yeah, because like Adrian Pina asked, so demons can take people form to deceive. Yeah, the same way they can jump on you, and use you as a vessel. They can manifest and make themselves look like someone that you might know, or whatever the case may be. Example, when Yahweh Shai took what was that, Peter, James, and John, all right, he transfigured himself, all right, to where he made it appear to where you had Moses and you had what was it, Samuel or Elijah? Elijah, yeah. It was Elijah, right? Mm-hmm. So you have Moses and you had Elijah, okay, that were on his right and on his left, and Yahweh Shai was in the middle.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to do that. That was a form of a spiritual power where he could make it seem. Now, Moses and Elijah weren't physically there, but the Lord was able to make it seem as though they were there. So yeah, that's not something crazy. It's like it's they can do that.
Gone.
But yeah, we'll continue.
Gone. It says, verse 9. It says, and the woman said unto him, behold, thou knowest that.
Oh, Slack. Also, just the same way angels on the right hand side are able to do it too. When you read in the book of Tobit, like I mentioned before, Raphael, when he came down in the form of a man, and I think he went by the name Azarias or Azariah, and he,
I believe.
Yeah, and he deceived Tobit and Tobias for that beginning, told them, look, I'm one of your brethren. They had no clue he was an angel. He made himself look like somebody else, you know. But you know, when he later on, when he told him, "Look, I'm an angel," you know. So go ahead.
Continue, verse 9 says, and the woman said unto him, Behold, thou knowest what Saul hath done, how he hath cut off those that have familiar spirits and the wizards out of the land. Wherefore then layest thou a snare for my life to cause me to die? So that's why he had to disguise himself, because they knew, said, yo, this guy, man, you just killed all these people, told them to, cut them off, and now you're gonna come to me on some like, hey, familiar spirit, you about to spy on me to see if I'm one of the witches? Like, what's up? Why are you here? That's why he had to disguise himself so they don't know that he's Saul. And then she said, what? And Saul swear to her by the Lord Yahweh, saying, as the Lord Yahweh liveth, there shall no punishment happen to thee for this thing. Okay? So he swore by the Lord's name. Yo. Verse 11. Then said the woman, whom shall I bring up unto thee? Bring up unto thee. And he said, bring me up Samuel. And when the woman saw Samuel, she cried with a loud voice, and the woman spake to Saul, saying, why hast thou deceived me? For thou art Saul. Okay. And the king said unto her, be not afraid, for what sawest thou? And the woman said unto Saul, I saw gods ascending out of the earth. And he said unto her, he said, what form is he of? And she said, an old man cometh up, and he is covered with a mantle. And Saul perceived that it was Samuel, and he stooped with his face to the ground and bowed himself. And Samuel said to Saul, why hast thou oh God, it says, why hast thou disquieted me to bring me up? And Saul answered, I am so distressed, for the Philistines make war against me, and God is departed from me, and answereth me no more, neither by prophets nor by dreams. Therefore I have called thee, that thou mayest make known unto me what I shall do. So Saul was basically, he had lost it all, man. He had lost the power of discernment, the power to make rightful judgment. He didn't even know what was going on. As a leader of a nation, you don't know what the fuck to do. Such a bitch that he had to go call somebody who's dead for directions. That's why if the Lord is not dealing with you, man, there's nothing you could do. Because even though the Lord is not dealing with you at that point, he thought maybe he could speak to Samuel, and Samuel could give him directions. But the Lord is not dealing with you. He's dealing with Samuel. So you think the Lord's really going to not deal with you physically, and then he's going to pass behind your back, and then all of a sudden you go do the wicked shit, and now the Lord's going to deal with you, right? That's crazy as hell, man.
Yeah, it shows you he was so desperate that he was willing to because he was disobedient. That's why the Lord took his spirit from him. But he was so desperate that he was willing to go and deal with a witch that had a familiar spirit. All right, just to quote unquote gain answers, and he heard what was coming for him. Nonetheless. Hey, the brother said, Shalom Akim. So when demons take the form of someone, are you able to tell when they do? Well, I mean, if the spirit of the Lord's with you, you'll be able to tell who's a demon and who's not. Even if they take on the form of somebody if they take on the form of a dead person, if the spirit of the Lord will be on you, you can tell, okay, yeah, that is a demon. It'll just, now I haven't been in that position, but the spirit of the Lord, if it's dealing with you, you'll be able to tell. Hey, go ahead.
Yeah, it's not commonplace for a dead person to be walking among the living. That's why when Yahushua rose again, they thought he was a demon. They were like, what the fuck? We just see spirits? Like, how the fuck this nigga manifested? You see, they were bugged out. But then he showed them. He said, look, feel my palm. I told you I was going to wake up again. What the hell is wrong with you? And he said, yo, y'all got some food? Let's eat. You see, he was making light of the situation. But to them, they're like, nah, they were still shook. Like, this guy, no way, So it's the same thing. If you in this world and somebody dies and you see the person walking around, you should be throwing up some prayers and getting the fuck up out of there, because that's that's a demon, bro. And they're coming for you. So you throwing up some prayers and shit. You know what I'm saying? Do what you got to do.
Hey, hey, because real quick, just some more here. This is the definition of a familiar spirit. It says a familiar spirit. Hey, that's a spirit, man. Like the brother read about how there's nothing new on the earth. The same things that they were doing back there with familiar spirits, they do now. These celebrities, when they perform, Beyonce has Sasha Fierce, right? That's a familiar spirit. Eminem has Slim Shady. That's a familiar spirit. Okay. Nicki Minaj has what's it? Roman. Roman, right? That's a familiar spirit. And I'm going to read it. A familiar spirit, alter ego, doppelganger, personal demon, personal totem, spiritual companion. When you look up doppelganger, all right, for those who don't know, it says a doppelganger is a non-biologically related look-alike or double of a living person, sometimes portrayed as a ghostly or paranormal phenomenon and usually seen as a harbinger of bad luck. Okay, so a doppelganger is somebody that can look just like you, you know. So them demons, all right, or a familiar spirit, it can be an alter ego. So when they perform, all right, when they go and sign these deals and these contracts and all that, man, and they go and perform, when they're performing, there's a video of Beyonce. I think she lifts up her head, and you can see her throat go wide, her eyes turn black, you know, as she's performing. You know, because you have that familiar spirit that's taken over for them to perform. Now, these familiar spirits, it's not that they know how to sing, but they're able to put spells and enchantments on you through the vocals that they're singing out. They're pushing out vibrations onto the minds of the people. So the way you're gaining followers and fans isn't because of how good you sing, but the demon that has taken over is putting them under that trance under you. You know, that's why you have people that'll be on the train listening to a song and they'll start, you know, when you go to these parties and all people, there's a certain song that'll come on and everybody gets hyped. Yeah, then they start singing it in the same, everybody singing the same song at the same time. Is them demons. These priests on the left-hand side, they prey on the track, the record deals before they sell it. They put demons into the track, and then when you listen to it, them demons come into you.
Yep.
It's all vibrations. There's been experiments done on when you play instruments, all right, with water around or even sand. If it's a peaceful, calm instrument, the water makes peaceful symbols. If it's demonic, it'll make demonic symbols. And what is your body made of? What, like 70% water?
75.
75? So if they're singing and they're pushing that vibration out the same way we push out righteous vibrations with this word and prophecies come to pass, it's the same thing, man. They push out wicked vibrations with familiar spirits. So these celebrities, when they say they're part of the quote-unquote Illuminati or they sold their soul, really they signed a deal to gain a familiar spirit, and that's how they're able to perform these different things. All right.
Hey, even in the movies, you know, there's something called stunt double. Going to familiar spirit. Stunt double is basically somebody who looks like you and they play a certain scene that you, the person, may not be able to perform. So, for example, they might have a stunt double for The Rock, and he's doing Fast and Furious. There's a scene where maybe he can't really jump out and then do a freaking kick right out the car. So they'll get somebody who's a professional who does that and he looks just like him. Okay, or they put the makeup and everything to look just like him. So now he's doing it. So in the movie, it looks like The Rock, right? You'd be like, damn, bro, no, but it's not him. You go behind the scenes and you see how they actually produce that. You'd be like, oh, what the fuck? That's all witchcraft. They play with your mind. Okay, they play with your mind. So like the brother said, we got all these different celebrities. Who's the guy who just passed? Juice WRLD.
Yeah.
All these guys, they it's becoming a known thing to promote witchcraft. Like it's a normal thing. You know what I'm saying? Oh, I got demons. You know, he said what? Dying young, demon youth. You know, like you're dying young, demon youth, bro. What the hell are you talking about? Nigga got a tattoo 999. They asked him, what does that mean? Motherfucker said, oh, you know, when you look into the Bible, the last book, you know damn well what the name of the book is, but the last book, you know, it says, you know, 666, which is like, it symbolizes bad things and bad energy. I'm like, what the fuck is that still talking about? It symbolizes bad energy. So like, I turn it upside down so it could mean good energy. You don't know what you tapping into, my guy. You see, these are all different energies and different vibrations that do exist. And the more you say, no, they don't exist, that's when they attack you more, because demons want to prove to you, motherfucker, we exist and we're going to kill you. Okay? So that's why people be out here like, nah, I don't believe in that. You believe in God, you believe in the devil, but you don't believe in the ones that come with him? Are you crazy?
Hey, well, the scriptures tell you, it says, do you believe that there's a most high? Good. The devils do as well.
That's it.
And they tremble. So these demons, they know the Most High. They believe in the Most High and they tremble. And the Most High, the same way he performs things on the right hand side, he does things on the left hand side as well. You ever seen in a movie when they try to conjure up a demon, right? If somebody has a familiar spirit, the person will be like this. They might sit down and be like, all right, I'm gonna call him, and then they just be like,
You see the time?
Oh yeah, that's a spirit. 1-4. Yep. So the person will be quiet, and then next thing you know, they'll be breathing, and then next thing you know, the demon will start speaking out of them. Because the person will go into like a trance-like state, and then the demon takes over, or the familiar spirit takes over, possesses them, and starts speaking through them. The voice might change, and people will be able to inquire from that familiar spirit, from that demon. So just the same way you had, like in the book of Acts, there were these people who had a maid or a servant who had she was a soothsayer. She had a familiar spirit for her to be able to tell you the future. It wasn't the woman telling you the future, but the demon that was on her, the familiar spirit that was telling them the future. Right. So if her masters were like, "Yo, I have a meeting tomorrow, or I'm gambling tomorrow. What cards should I put, or what should I play?" She would sit down and allow the familiar spirit to take over her vessel, and they will communicate with that spirit, because spirits can tell you that. And then afterwards, they would go and do whatever the spirit told them, and they would get the gain. So that's why it says, with that familiar spirit, the masters wrought much gain. Mm-hmm. They won a lot of profit. So when Paul exercised the demon off of her and took that spirit off of her, they got tight. They were like, "You just made us lose our cash cow, our money. So now we're going to bring you to court, and we want this nigga killed. We want him arrested. We want some judgment on him." Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
Continuing, we're going to close it out with this, or unless you guys have more to say. Verse 1 Samuel 28, continue verse 19, it says, "Moreover, the Lord Yahweh will also deliver," verse 16, it says, "Then said Samuel, wherefore then," it says, "then dost thou ask of me, seeing the Lord Yahweh is departed from thee and is become thine enemy?" So he's like, why are you coming to me if the Lord is not even dealing with you no more? I'm only dealing with the men that the Lord is dealing with. So if you're not part of that, then I can't deal with you. Point blank, period. Okay, it says, "And the Lord hath done to him," okay, "as he spake by me."
Slack because like you just made the point. Mm-hmm. So Saul is going to Samuel to ask for stuff, and Samuel's telling him, "Yo, my man, first off, the only reason I came to you in the first place was because the Lord sent me.
That's it.
So if the Lord isn't dealing with you, what makes you think you coming to me, I can do anything about that? I only came to you because the Lord sent me to come to you. And now the Lord I'm dead. I'm chilling. I'm tight because you woke me up. You just disquieted my peace. And the Lord isn't dealing with you. Why are you coming to me?"
Yep. And finishing off, it says, it says, "And the Lord Yahweh hath done to him," and it says, like, as he spake by me. "For the Lord Yahweh hath rent the kingdom out of thine hand, and given it to thy neighbor, even to David." Mm-hmm. So it was clipped after that for Saul, man. Ain't no kingdom after that. You went off, and that's it. And that's a lesson in and of itself as to, being in this truth, man. You could be used as a vessel, and the Lord could just kick your ass out at the last end, man. Mm-hmm. And say you did all this work, but you're not worthy, so you out. That will kill you a lot. It's gonna kill your spirit. You know what I'm saying? But going back to what the whole topic is, that yes, demons do exist, and they do manifest in our physical realm. Okay, whether it's to play tricks on you or to test you, whatever it might be. But yes, you do have demons that do make themselves manifest. Okay? Sometimes you have demons that make themselves manifest, but you don't see them physically. You see them through the acts or the words of somebody. You be like, "Man, you got demons on you." We say that all the time. You say something to your mom and she say something back. You be like, "Yo, that's demons, yo." Or maybe let's say you're in the Passover, right? And then you're supposed to get rid of all leaven, and the same day that the Passover had taken place, your mom bakes the best cakes ever. You'd be like, "Really? You gonna wait till this day too? You got demons? That's demons right there. Fuck them."
Yeah, and you know what it is too? Is like it's structured and set up that way. Not that she's wicked, because everybody gets demons on them. We're not perfect. There's times when you go off because the demons jump on you. And there's some demons that do more than others, but sometimes in their minds they're not like, "Oh, I'm trying to I know it's the Passover. Yeah, I'm gonna definitely bake this joint right here. Oh, you go eat." Nah, that's not that's not the mindset. It's just like, I feel like baking today. I haven't baked in a while. Let me bake. But that's the demons putting that thought into their mind to do it. They don't realize it, but just you would be able to tell because you come back and you're like, what? Come on, what are the chances? But it's all part of our battle. You know, and Slakia, Zakaya, if I'm pronouncing that right, Gregory, she said that much appreciated, Akim, for your time and energy in this matter. Your podification, just an FYI, I'm an Aqua. Slakia, I was referred to as a brother, but hey, you know, Slakia about that. Hey, but hey, glad you were edified through the Spirit, man.
Yeah.
Okay.
Mr. Bombist, Mr. C, MRC4, he said what? Demons attack when we're at our weakest, the thoughts and the mindset. Come on, hey, Yahweh, he was tested after 40 days of fasting. Who could do that? You know, and to break the fast, Satan came up and said, look, I could get you all this. You just got to do what I tell you. You know, demons do that with us every day, man. You be with your woman the whole week, she didn't throw no ass at you. On the day that the Shabbat come in, all of a sudden she horny. You be like, man, what the fuck? That's demons. Okay, that's demons. Oh, babe, let me just, you know, I'm gonna just ride you. You don't really gotta put in work. That's demons. And then at that point, the whole week, you start thinking like, it's been a whole week, man. Yo, you know what? Maybe. Yo, the sun really went down. What's the time? You're checking the time, trying to get technical with it. You know damn well the sun is down, but you're like, nah, it's technically going down at 5. It's 4:30.
Yeah, and then the demons try to hop on you.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Yeah, they try to get up in your mind and get you messed up. But hey, like the brother said, man, that's when you gotta pray the most because them demons, they're intelligent. You know, they know what to hit you with, how to hit you with it, when to hit you with it, and you know what to go in with it. And you ever notice if let's say you were working, right? The whole day you haven't eaten because you were working, you wouldn't really feel as hungry. You feel like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever, you know, when I get home, I'll eat. Literally declare that day a fast. Be like, yo, I'm a fast today. Yo, I kid you not. Either you're gonna come across the best smelling food. They'll say, yo, this is a one time, we only make this once every 10 years. You gotta get it right now, or you're not getting it again. Everybody's getting it, you smelling it, you like, that's how it is. You get hungry out of nowhere. It's like, yo. Normally I'm not this hungry, but out of nowhere I'm so hungry, and then getting to the end of your fast is like I'm good now.
Yep.
Because once you've passed that stage, the demons are like, yeah, he's not gonna give in. He got like 2 hours left. He's gonna be all right. Let's get off him. You know, then you good. It's demons.
That's it.
You know, but that's how they work. So once you understand that, and you know, like the brother said, that's when you gotta pray the most. All right, and stay strong, man. Mentally strong. You gotta rebuke them, okay, and just power through it. You know, but yeah, that's that was basically it. Okay, just wanted to answer those questions. You know, Lord's willing, you know, brothers and sisters were edified. Okay, and hey, if you have any questions, literally just put them on the comment board. You know, it doesn't matter what the video is, doesn't matter what the question is, as long as it's, you know, it's you know, it's not just something, you know, just to you know, just to talk. No, if you have a sincere question, put it on the comment board. We're here to, you know, to edify and to feed the sheep.
That's right.
You know? So we'll do our best to address the questions, do a video on it, you know, and whatever the case may be. Lord's will, you know, you be edified and the sheep be fed. That is the main goal.
That's
okay.
It.
So, hey, I don't got any more. You know, if you got any more last closing words,
send it home, baby.
You know, hey, so, you know, we hope this was edifying unto the elect, you know, and, you know, just stay in the spirit. We almost out of here, man. Okay. And yeah, there's certain questions that we might have that we might not necessarily know the 100% details of. As the scriptures say, we know in part, we prophesy in part. So certain things we know, but we only know what's necessary for us in this time to gain that salvation. But in the kingdom, we'll have memory and knowledge of everything we need to know. We'll remember our past lives. You know, we'll have the knowledge of creation and all these different things. You know, so right as of right now, we just got to stay strong, stay in the spirit, and keep pushing, man. So with that, we hope this is edifying unto the elect. We want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh. Real quick, brother said, he said, when do we fast? Hey, well, that's through the spirit. The only time that we all have to actually fast that one day is on the Day of Atonement. You know, which, you know, whenever that time is about to approach, we always announce and do videos on it. You know, so hey, whenever the spirit is on you to fast, however long it's on you to fast, that's between you and the Lord. You know, it's not to go around and tell brothers, yo, I'm fasting right now. No. We don't do what the Muslims do. All right. The Lord says you keep it between you and him, however long it is, whatever the case may be, and you just go through it. You know, so with that, we're going to end it here. Until next time, shalom.
Shalom. Stay hungry, brother.
That's right. Stay thirsty, my friend.